Okay, we have an amazing topic from today. Last week, if you remember, we did a little bit about on Yom Yerushalayim from a gadol in the Haredi world, which was quite a surprise to see his reaction. We can talk about something else about Eretz Yisrael, and we're going to start with something that's going to seem so controversial. Hope I don't get executed for even taking out this book in the room. Oh my God! I hope it's not against the Harmony bylaws. So this is called "They Must Go" by R.Myers Kahane. So, okay. Nice, good. What? Oh, great. Anyways, so very controversial person. And matter of fact, I just wrote an article about what's with the connections, but like, don't put him up kind of. That's just he's he was outlawed here in Israel, and what I'd like to show is he had thousands and thousands of ideas. Okay, any mature thinker can agree or disagree with things he says. It's not all or nothing. I don't think there's one rabbi that you could show me that I agree with every single thing that he says. Judaism is complex, and there's so many different ideas and approaches in so many areas. So yeah, Meir Kahane, I differentiate between the written word of Meir Kahane and the verbal, the oral, the demonstrations he was at, and sometimes things were said. I go by his written word, and it needs to be looked into. What I would like to show today is the premise of his, probably can argue the most controversial book, or maybe you could say the story of the JDL, because there he talks about how in the 60s he realized what's going on in Mattapan in Boston, and he realized that this crazy. All the Jews are getting wealthy. They're leaving Dorchester and all the wealthy areas, and now that's the poor area now. They're moving on to greener pastures, and they have these elderly alone. They can't get out of the house. This is sick. And he talks about how he set up the JDL and the idea of Jews defending themselves, and then from there defending Jews in East Brooklyn and in Dorchester, stuff like that. He moved on to free his next mission was 3 million Jews in Russia, and how are we going to free them, and how are we going to get that noticed? And so he did certain very controversial things: take over a Soviet airplane, enter the airflock, the Soviet, their planes, and they into the offices, put graffiti on it. So he did things. You can argue and discuss all those things for sure. But this is certainly high up in terms of controversy. They must go. What I'd like to show today is that the book, They Must Go, How Can Israel Survive Its Malignant and Growing Arab Population, how this book has nothing to do with Rav Meir Kahane's personal philosophy. I'm going to read sources from someone who I think is not so controversial. His name was Rambam, Maimonides. Okay, let's take a look. I'm only going to be quoting from 3 of his sources. Okay, and there's really what Rav Kahane does in the book. He just says that he quotes from hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of articles about the Arabs, what they maintain, how the Jewish country is responding to them in such a weak and conciliatory manner, and it's going to lead to disaster. Now, he had a lot of time to prepare the book because he was in jail. So he had 24/7. And the guards, a lot of them were Sephardi guards that themselves came from Arab countries. They knew the Arab mentality well. They did everything to help. Every article he asked for, bring it in. Okay? And so he had all the information. He just shows article after article. He quotes the Mariv, 1976. This conference, 1947, and what the Arabs were saying. There is no room for the Jews here. They just quote. And then again and again, the state's reaction, like, you ever say there. So that's one part of the book, is a lot of historical documentation about what happened. And then the end is the solution. He's simply quoting Masorah for the solution of what Masorah says to do. And on the one hand, this is a very radical line, they must go. Yeah. But truthfully, any foreign people here, non-Jews in Israel, it's the same question. It's just they're the more dangerous ones. Maybe one day the world will wake up and realize the danger is not only in Israel. If you let them shalom over here on the north and the south of us, the rest of the world is going to. But if the hatred towards the Jews somehow will give such blindness that they'll commit, international suicide. The world. So listen to the Rambam. Yes, in jail, I think 79. Yeah, right about that area. Okay. Yes.
He kept saying that if the Arabs have any problems with the Palestinians, because they're so worried about them, they should just take them. Exactly.
Yes, exactly. So we know that everyone has an agenda. So listen to the Torah's approach. And I'm quoting from 3 separate areas in the Rambam. That's pretty serious. Hilchos Avodah Zarah. The Rambam writes in Hilchos Avodah Zarah, Perek Yud. Okay. And he writes the following. Hilchos Avodah Zarah, Perek Yud. So he writes, Ein kotin brit l'shiva amamim. We don't make a brit with the 7 nations. Shnei lo techol lehem brit. Yachsu me'avodatam. They have to do tshuva, or they're going to be killed. And you have an issat of rachmanis on them. And he goes on about healing an idolater, selling them. Ein mochen lehem batim b'sadot be'eretz Yisrael. You can't sell them land in Israel. And then he writes, you should just know about this chapter 10. This is one in exile. Or we're not in exile, but the Gentiles are in control. But when the Jews are in control, you can't leave an idolater here. No, he's just here temporarily. As a worker, visa, this and that. He's just traveling through on business. Lo yavo batzenu. Nope. Sorry. Can't come through. Ella ad sheyikabel alav sheva mitzvah. What can he do then if he wants to be here? No Gentiles at all? No, we have Gentiles. Once we have the 7 Noach laws and he accepts them, because it says lo yesh v'batza, they can't be here. Afilu lefi sha'ah, even temporarily. V'mkival av sheva mitzvos, if he accepts the 7 mitzvos in front of a beis din, and it's got to be real acceptance, and we see he's living that way. He's not going to the mosques anymore, not going to churches anymore. No. It's a real gerus, not gerus of 613, a conversion of 7. And he's calling the rabbi for Allah. I'm in a business deal. Is this considered stealing? Is it not considered stealing? I'm in a business deal with a Christian across the world. And am I allowed to do business with a Christian? Now that I'm a Noahide, is a Christian idolater, can I do business? And he's calling the rabbi for shilas. Harei zeh ger, what do we call this? Not a get tzedek 613, but ger Toshav. Why is he called Ger Toshav? Because now he's allowed to live here. Ein mekabel, there's a caveat. Ein mekabel Ger Toshav elav zman sheyovel noheg. Wow. So, and you only can have that when you have Yovel. So Yovel means all the tribes are in our proper places. Then and only then can we take in the Gentiles who want to join us. But we first have to be anchored. And we have to have our proper places, which we're going to need a Navi for that, to tell us where to go. Only when we have that, then we could talk about bringing the Gatosha. So we can't even bring the Gatosha according to the Rambam, even in this limited way, we can't do it all yet. Okay. Wow. But nowadays, all we could do is accept what? A full convert ger tzedek, he could join the nation. But this partial kind of a ger toshav, we cannot do this because we don't have Yovel. We have to wait for that to come back. Wow. So a person's going to argue that they're not idolaters, which is a huge argument among the poskim. Everyone always says that the Arabs, Muslims are not idolaters. Not everyone agrees on that. Not everyone agrees. And there are those that want to say that part of them is idolatrous. It's a whole nother discussion. But it wouldn't even matter here, Julie. Why? Because what's the Rambam saying? As long as you're not an idolater, you could be here? No. It's not just saw me ra, you move away from idolatry. You must make a positive step, go in front of a beis din, and go through your gerus. Not a gerus of 613, a gerus of 7. But it's got to be there, and they're going to grill you. Are you just playing games or not? Not going to enter into the nonsense where, our leaders have been fooled by such sickness. Arafat and the peace deal, like sickness, just fooled. Okay, where they're signing on and they never signed on. Arafat is a product of his teacher was whom? What's the name again? Hosseini, who played a major role in the Holocaust, major role working with Hitler. And that was his teacher and Abbas's teacher too. And we could be so silly and naive that we could be fooled by him. Yes, we are so silly. We have the sick fantasy of peace. It's a sick fantasy of peace. And just like a young man meets this beautiful woman and she's so not right for him, but he's got a crazy fantasy and somehow it goes through with the marriage. Okay. So we have this fantasy of peace. Not all of us, but many of us that somehow we'll just grab at anything. So hopefully the beis din is going to be a bit more discerning. They're going to check this person out, each one, and see. Sorry, we got to get out of the country. Got to get out. This is one Rambam. Let's move on. The Rambam again talks about this. It's a few places. I'm just mentioning 3 of the places, okay? Okay. He talks about it we'll go in order. In the Rambam in Kedusha. Why the book of Kedusha? In Isurei be a prohibited relationships? Ma kesher. What's the kesher of prohibited relationships? So the Rambam says that there is a concept of gerus, that even if you are not born Jewish, you could go ahead and enter. And how did we enter the covenant? With bris, milah, and tvila, and korban. Milah was in Mitzrayim. And then Tvila was in the Midbar before Matan Torah. Korban, B'shachan Nari B'nai Israel. B'choin L'doros. When a Gentile wants to join us and come under the Shechina and accept the Torah, he needs Milah, Tvila, and a Korban. And if it's a woman, if she's a woman, then Tvila and a Korban. But nowadays, Korban Hager, people are not even aware that Hager brings a korban. No, because we don't have korbanos now. Mal korban Hager, Olat Behemah goes through the korban. Zman hazeh, that there is no korban. You need Milah and Tvila. Uksheyabane Beis HaMikdash. When the Mikdash comes, every Ger will bring a korban gerus. Unheard of, right? We're so far from the world of korbanos. It's so sad. We know nothing about it. Okay, so he goes ahead and what? There, yeah, man, that's good. I like that. That's a good one. I like that a lot. So he says, very good. So, and then he goes through. That's chapter 13. Chapter 14. Kates and McCoblin. How do you accept a Ger Tzedek? So he comes and you start checking out. Where's he from? Why do you want to convert? It's not simple to be a Jew, and people are against us. They hate us, and this and that. And you keep working through the process that we're familiar with. And you tell it's not easy. It's not easy to be a Jew. Then he goes on. He has the based in Ezuger Toshav. And in chapter 14, you have another option. Either you're born a Jew, or you could convert to become a full-fledged Jew, or you have another option, Ger Toshav. Ezu Ger Toshav, Ze Akum, Shekibel Alav Shelo Yavod Kochavim Mazalot. He accepts upon himself not to do any more idolatry. Im Shar Mitzvot Shenistavu B'nei Noach, in the rest of the 6 Noachide laws. Below Mal Velo Taval, he doesn't do Milah, he doesn't do Tefillah. Harei Ze Mekavlen Oto, accepted. Behu Mechasidei Umot, he's a righteous Gentile. Belam Nekra Shmo Toshav, why we call it Toshav? Because now we're allowing him to stay here. Toshav, you could stay here, like we explained in Helchot. And you don't accept the Ger Toshav except when you have the Yovel. He accepted everything except for one. You accept 612, you're not a Get Tzedek, and you're not a Get Toshav. You are Get Toshav. You should be, but we don't accept now because we're not settling our land. We can't take additional people in. So that's it. Okay. Yeah. Great question. It's a great question. And the Ravid has what to say about this. He says, and the Ravid actually challenges that Rambam in this one. Okay, that it's dependent on the Yovel. Okay, so let's be lenient, like the Ravid, that maybe it's not. And then, of course, the question is, what is the Rambam Shita? Why? Good question. Good question. So we saw the Rambam about the Zara, where he talks about how we deal with going throughout the world and how we deal with going when we're in authority. In Helchos Isurei B, a conversion, Parak 14 and 15, Parak 13, 14, he discusses it again. And then it gets even more intense. And listen to this. In Helchos Melachim, the laws of kings, okay, the laws of kings. Okay, and he says how to go ahead and have a war. How to go ahead, have a war. And what do we do with our enemies? And how to fight them, surround them. So he discusses. Okay. And talks about the rights of a king, what he could do in terms of his the money. And then he says the following. We fight a Mechamas Mitzvah first. What's Mechamas Mitzvah? Mechamas Shiv Amin, the 7 nations. Mechem Amalek, or Ezes Yishom Yatzah Shabalehem. Fighting against the enemy that comes against us. That is called a Mechamas Mitzvah. What's going on today? Mechamas Mitzvah. We're fighting Falai. This is not just an enemy. This is looking to destroy us from all sides. Then you can do Mechamas Rishus. What's Mechamas Rishus? Is where you expand. You expand north. West is not easy, into the river, into the ocean, but east, south, you expand. And you can have other parts that can become part of Eretz Yisrael. Okay? And you force the people to go fight in the war. Mitzvah say, lehachrim shiv amamim, you wipe out the 7 nations. And it's a mitzvah say to get rid of Amalek. And talks about where each Jew is allowed to live, going out of Eretz Yisrael, and all those halachas in it. In Parak Hay, he talks about the love of Eretz Yisrael, the importance of being here. That rabbis used to kiss the land when they come. It's a very, very beautiful and emotional chapter. Okay, and then so when the people say about the Rambam, he doesn't count Eretz Yisrael as a mitzvah. It's a mixed bag. It's not one of his 613. Ramban counts it as a 613. He does not. But that doesn't mean he doesn't count it as a very important halacha. For whatever reason, technically, it's not one of the 613. Doesn't mean it's not binding. You know what I'm saying? Is it's two studies here. How do you categorize the 613 and what's normative halacha? A man wants to go to Israel. The wife says, "No, I want to stay back in, back in Chutz La'aretz. We have all our money and wealth and castles over here. I don't want to leave." No, he could force her to go. She could force him to go. Rambam brings that down. What do you mean you don't want to be living here? No, he doesn't count as one of the 613 for some technical reason. So it's a shaila the Rambam. It's a shaila why. It's so obvious is that the sort of other mitzvahs is a discussion. Good. Then he says, Enos in Muhammad, you don't make a war with them. Okay, you don't make a war with the Goyim until you call to them. If they are willing to make peace, don't kill them. But it's not only, but he goes on. So we've seen this already. They could stay. This is the third time we're seeing this. About the Zara, Perik Yud over here. Then Perik Yud Gimel Yudal and Isurei Bia, and now the sixth Perik. Nothing new, plenty new. Listen to what he adds in. If they accepted it, they can accept it. Ain't Hogan Minashama, ain't Lamas. Okay, okay, no, they have to accept themselves the status of mas and abdut, and if they accept one without the other, no good. They're going to be hard workers. They're going to be hard workers. You don't like working for us? You want to run your own business? Fine. There's a whole world out there. Enjoy it. Not here. Here. He said, that's Rabbi Myers, Danny Myers, that's second-class citizenship. Correct. Absolutely. Second-class citizenship. And if they don't like it, they can leave. That's fine. There's any other beautiful Arab countries that they go live, or anywhere else around the world. Below Yidmenu al Yisrael l'shum davar ba'olam. They have no authority. They're not going to be in the Supreme Court. They have no authority. They have to go through the halachas, exactly what that means, no authority. And they own a store. Good question. Hamas, and what is a tax? They have to be willing to pay and to work for the king. Binyana Chomot, the king needs them to build the walls around the city. They have to be willing to do that. Chozek Mitzudot, strengthen other places. Build the king's castle, his palace. They have to be ready for that. And if they're ready for that, great. And if not, not. But we don't make any lies with them. We're very clear. This is it. You want to stay here. Shevis v'nei Noach. You're going to be taxes more than the Jews are paying. You're going to be a worker here. You don't like it? That's fine. Absolutely fine. You call us racist? Fine. We are racist, correct? If that's what you want to call us. Just leave. It goes on now. Bim lo shlimu. Or they didn't make peace with us. They want to fight. Or they made peace, but they don't want to take 7 mitzvahs. Or they want to take 7 mitzvahs, but they don't want to have the status. You kill them out. Kill them out. They know can ish v'lo katan, not the woman and the katan. Then you let the woman and the children live. That's with other nations. The 7 nations in Amalek, they don't make peace with us. Don't leave anyone around. So that's it. That's the choice. There's 3 choices. We divide between Amalek and the 7 nations and the regular Gentiles. Everyone, if you want to stay, you have to make peace, except the taxation system and accept the Abdut. You're going to have not regular citizen rights. You're going to be working hard. Yeah. Absolutely. It's not going to happen. Medina Kalacha, not a chance will that happen. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So this is the Rambam, and then he differentiates between the Goyim who don't make peace with us, so we definitely get rid of all the males, and there's 3 options. Option 1 is accept it, make peace, 7 mitzvos, and the 3 conditions: 7 mitzvos, the taxes, and the abdut, and then you could stay. Choice number 2, you leave, will help you emigrate. Choice number 3, we'll fight to the death. And the only argument is, what if it's from the 7 nations, Amalek? Then what about the children north? We have to kick them out too. How does that all work? Okay, those are details. Those are all details. Rav Kahane itself goes into the details in his magnum opus. They must go in Or Harayon. Harayon is this philosophical book. We organize all the Jewish philosophy, and I love the Jewish philosophers: Rambam, Ramban, Kuzari, Sadigon, Chaskai Kreskas. I love all of them, and I don't think it's chutz for me to say Or Harayon is up there with the greatest philosophical works. It has nothing to do with Rav Kahane, extremism, kick out all the hours. It's just it's a guide to the perplexed work of that level, where he puts together the whole Masorah, all of Tanakh, all written law and oral and organized. And there he goes into the details of exactly how this works. Anyways, so this is not some crazy plan from Rav Kahane that he made up. It's not at all. It's Masorah, the Rambam, the greatest posik we've had in the last 1,000 years. So it's just important. Yes. Really? Chazoni Shvi'it 24. Wow, excellent. That's a great source. Lean down, I can check it out.
What's the name of the book that he wrote that's the name of this?
Or Harayon. It's called and it's in English, not always easy to get. Or Harayon, the Jewish idea is. So it's a Jewish, because also have his yeshiva. Yeah, but the Jewish idea, I think, is 2 volumes, English said, not always easy to find. And read it through it.
Do you have it?
Yeah, I have it. We have in the shul, one copy actually is missing, unfortunately, one of the volumes. But we have one volume, one take a look at it. And it's the Masorah. He's given over the Masorah. That is what he did. He was, in my opinion, had total allegiance to Masorah. He did. And he said certain things in very harif ways. Politically correct was not part of his lexicon. Okay, he just said what he thought was right and proper. That's it. But this is the Rambam, a moderate Jewish rationalist philosopher, telling us in 3 places that I mentioned that's it. You want to live here? That's our conditions. I'm working on a new song. I don't have all the words yet, but I'll introduce it to you for the first time. This land is my land. It is not your land. That's my first line, and I'm developing it, and it's going to get, Bruce Springsteen asked me to write it with him because he did one, Arthur Godfrey's version a few years ago in his style. I'm working to having the Jewish style to working on. I'll let you know. Anyways, we should have B'sharot Tavad, and we should have Mitzvah Shem Mehervina Middinak Halacha, where the halacha Torah is guiding us. Because having just the leaders guide us, it's the ants is blowing in the wind. They're just blowing in the wind. And in respect to the Jewish leaders, I have tremendous respect for Bibi. I do. I know people like him, they hate him, this and that. Worst person ever lived. Everyone has everyone to say, but I have to respect. I think no one would be even close to standing up to the whole world and the leftists like he would. Any other leader would have been gone now, would have been given the Palestinian state by now, and this and that. So I have tremendous respect. But so he's not guided by Torah and halacha. That's not it. And so he's good, given our situation, in my opinion, but we have to yearn. We have clarity to think, no, we have to kowtow to the guy and work with him. Then everything's going to be good. We've kowtowed, and look what we have. The ICC, the worst vicious things going against us. So it's not helping. But the not kalacha, that's our goal. And the Rambam is one who expresses it very, very clearly and eloquently. Yes, Hashem, here Yameinu. Okay, thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.